one. All right, welcome to the Wild Cannons podcast. To my left, we have Ryan. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic. What was your Halloween costume?
It was Beavis.
I could totally see that on that one.
Or maybe Butthead. That was Butthead.
Oh, Butthead.
It was Butthead.
Yeah, Butthead.
Yeah.
You see that with that little thumbs up look you gave?
Shout out Jeff being the Beavis to my Butthead.
Yes, big Jeff, not little Jeff, who's not with us today. But we do have in the booth in our studio, we have Katrina Roloff. So thank you for being here. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing good. Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little about you. I know you spent many, I would say, hours, days on your split board. You're well connected with both the backcountry and avalanche awareness community. And you recently spent some time up in AK.
Yeah.
And now you're sticking around our neck of the woods for this season.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be here this season. I'm
Awesome.
excited about it. It's going to be fun to have just like fun girl winter instead of trying to turn into work, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say work, you mean like work as in like guiding and working with any avalanche?
So long term, I was trying to be an avalanche forecaster. I don't think I'm going to pursue that anymore. I don't know. I'm just taking this season off, I think. The whole like Alaska thing was like me trying to kind of get my foot in the door. I met a lot of like really cool people up there and like got to learn a ton. But it wasn't realistic for me to go back if I was trying to be a forecaster because it's like operational. Like I was running base. Oh my God, I got to start over. That's so bad.
No, you're good. No.
I wasn't running a base. I don't know how to explain it. I was a dispatcher, so I would answer radio calls for the helicopters coming in and out of base all day, which is not really like an avalanche thing at all. Like I would watch weather. That was about as in any type of like field of work I wanted towards what I wanted to do. But the helicopters like landing, taking off, getting fuel, payloads, like all that stuff was kind of like my job. And I think long term, if I had gone back, it wouldn't have made a lot of sense because it was just being a dispatcher, not actually like furthering my career.
Yeah. And we like to kind of like, get into that a little more of what you're doing. You can, explain what,
that in a better way.
No, yeah. Not necessarily in a better way, but kind of give us, the steps of how you, got connected with that, and what you were thinking, maybe that it might be. And then also, you learned something there. So, I mean, you don't know if you don't go, right? So,
yeah.
But besides that, I mean, you've been a little sick, but how else have things been?
Pretty good. We did a lot of rock climbing this summer. It's been like a really mellow off season for me. I kind of hurt my ankle, so it's been like just going slow. And I've been snowboarding like 3 times. My first day of the season this season was backcountry, and I brutalized myself for no reason.
Yeah, so you really kicked it off heavy.
Yeah.
I know you had a couple days resort at Silver.
Yeah.
But with that heavy start, where were you pushing out to get your butt kicked?
We went to Canada, and there was like this cool hut. It's like part of the Bonington Traverse, so you can go hut to hut to hut up there. But we just wanted to stay at one, and I like had done enough research that I knew there was like a deep enough snowpack to go out there and try and ski. And it was like 6 or 7 miles into the cabin, which we didn't start hiking until like 5 p.m. So we didn't get to the cabin until like 1 a.m. We like stopped a few times. We had to like stop and have emergency food, and both of us were both like glad we stopped. We wouldn't have made it if we didn't stop. And we got to the cabin, and then the next morning I discovered I'd broken my split board in half. So we did all that walking for no riding for me, but it was fun.
You didn't get to ride at all?
No, I rode like maybe like 40 vertical feet.
Oh my gosh.
And I fell in a tree wall. So it was a pretty sick start to my season. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a lot of turnaround left in the season. But so when you're saying you're not riding, are you skiing out? Are you like
it was like
double planking out of there?
Oh no, I guess I snowboarded out of there, but it was just like on a road. So it doesn't feel like, there was no POW. It was like 3 POW slashes, and then mostly just riding in somebody's snowmobile track for the rest of the way. So,
Yeah, I think we would consider that. We'd be on that same. We didn't really ride. Yeah, so you're a little, I would say, rocky start to the season, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
still have a lot of season left. So that's the.
Yeah, it's
Good
barely even
part.
started.
And I just saw Schweitzer saying they had 100 inches already this year.
Silver's at 88.
88.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about nicknames? Do you have any nicknames?
Not
Ever had
really.
any nicknames?
I can't think of any off the top of my head. Are you gonna give me one right now?
No, I don't
You
know.
look like you have one in mind.
Maybe by the end of the episode. We'll see.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. I thought maybe there'd be nicknames, in there. And then just going in the simplest form is like I have no idea like where you're from, if you're from here, if you're from like Virginia or what it is. So if you give us this little background of, like where you grew up, and then not necessarily in the snowboard sense, but just where you grew up, and then how you where you're at now.
Not necessarily in the snowboard sense. So
Yeah.
like growing up, do you know where Puyallup, Washington is?
Mhm.
So I grew up in Puyallup.
There are a bunch of Vikings out there. Do you know where it is, Ryan?
Yeah, south of Seattle.
It's south of Seattle. Now I
Near
want to know where he
Tacoma.
thinks it is. His face right now is not believing it. Pretty close to Tacoma, yeah.
I had a buddy from there. He was a logger, so
Nice.
I know there's logging out there.
Yeah, I didn't know about the logging when I was a kid.
I might have made that up.
Yeah, South Hill of Puyallup.
Yeah, that's where I lived. Was on the South Hill of Puyallup.
I
then-
don't know where it's at.
And then growing up, my dad had like a concrete business. And when the economy collapsed in like 2008, he like lost the business, and we lost the house, and we lost everything. So we moved over here because he got a job with the city, which he's been doing since we moved here. I think like almost 20 years now.
Oh.
Yeah. And then we finished growing up in like Suncrest, if you know where that is, like 9 Mile Falls area.
Actually, I don't.
That's like 15, 20 minutes northwest of Spokane. Yeah. And then, moved out on my own when I turned 18. Pretty much that was it for my backstory as a child.
Awesome. Now we're going to get into the good stuff.
So from there, like, what's your origin story with snowboarding? How did you get into snowboarding?
I went into REI. I was like 21. I went into REI and they were having one of those garage sales. And this lady was like, "You should buy this snowboard." And I was like, all right. So I bought it. And then I went up to Mount Spokane and I like basically taught myself how to snowboard. I like wrecked a lot. I went the first time I went, I actually had a really horrible time. You want to hear a really bad story?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
All right. So I was super scared of heights. I still am pretty scared of heights. So
Wait. So I just want to know. So you were told to buy a snowboard, and then you had to get on a chairlift and on a mountain that's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to
clarify.
I was like, I got the snowboard. I was like, well, I guess I have to do all these other things. And like one of my coworkers at the company I used to work at was like, let's go snowboarding together. And so I was like, cool, let's go. And we went to the resort. On our way to the resort, we went to Wendy's. And I got some chicken nuggets, which was the first mistake. We get to the resort parking lot, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not feeling so good. And she's like, you're just scared of the lift. And I was like, yeah, I'm scared of the lift. And we get on the lift. We go up to the top of the lift. I'm like, I'm really not feeling good. And we get off of the lift, and I'm like, oh, God. And she's like, you got to ride down now. And I'm like, no. And I like grab the board, and I run down the bunny hill. I get to the stairs. I open the door, and I can't hold it in. I projectile vomit all over the stairs. And then I like go into the bathroom, projectile vomit some more, go over to the desk. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I puked on your stairs. And they're like, okay. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm out of here. And I like went back to the car. I proceeded to puke for like another 2 hours. Long story short, chicken nuggets gave me food poisoning. And then my friend also was just like scared of getting sick. So she like didn't want to hang out with me anymore after that. So I ended up going by myself after that to actually teach myself how to snowboard.
So your first time snowboarding, you rode the chairlift up but ran down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Classic.
The fastest way to the bathroom.
And I puked everywhere.
That's awesome.
So that happened. And then, from there, I just went like night skiing at Mount Spokane a lot. And I just like taught myself how on the bunny hill. And then the first time I ever went to the top of the mountain, it was with a kid. And I like left my helmet. I don't remember if it was like, 'cause I was like, I'm cool enough to not ride with a helmet, or because I thought I just forgot it. I don't remember exactly what happened. But I concussed myself the entire way down the mountain following this child who knew how to ski way better than I ever have learned how to snowboard. Yeah. So From then on, I wore a helmet, and that's why I wear a helmet. I can't rip around a beanie because I'm like afraid of concussing myself, you know?
So was there a reason why you got into snowboarding, or was it just kind of like you were at REI? It's like, that looks fun.
Yeah, that was it. The REI, that looks fun, pretty much. That's my origin story. Yeah.
Did your parents like ski at all, or did they have any connection to the mountain, or were they like out like? 'Cause
I never did it with them. Like I think they were skiers like a long time ago. My dad and I were actually talking about this recently, and he's like, he'd stopped skiing because he broke his thumb because he had like one of those poles that like would wrap around your thumb. And I remember him telling me this story when I was young, which is why I picked snowboarding instead of skiing, because at the sale they had both, and I was like, I don't want to fuck with the skis because
because of the poles.
Because of the poles, yeah. I was
And
like,
now you
I
use
don't
poles
need
all the
four
time.
moving. Yeah, I know. I do use poles all the time, but they don't have thumb
Full
loops.
circle.
Or they don't have thumb loops or straps or anything. All right, okay. And so he like planted the pole or something happened, and it like caught, and then it broke his thumb. And I was just
That's
like,
a common injury for skiing.
yeah,
It's very
idiots.
common.
And I'm assuming he uses his hands every day, so he was like,
Yeah, he's like, I can't do this anymore, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. So he quit, and then I never got to like experience that with my family or anything. I think I'd be a way better snowboarder if I had like learned when I was a kid. But I think I'm doing pretty good for only like 10 years in.
yeah, and you taught yourself. I mean, just going up.
Yeah.
You know, and
You just have to be willing to beat the shit out of yourself, to be honest. I
Pay
hope
your
we're bleeping
dues.
all these swear words.
oh no, it rides.
I was sick.
Yeah, it goes.
Just don't say the C word.
Oh, that's
I'm just
my... You might want to bleep that out.
The ski word? Yeah.
Yeah, the ski word? What?
All right. Who was or who is your biggest influence for snowboarding,
Oh, man. I don't know anymore.
if you have any?
I think back when I started, like Travis Rice was like really inspirational to me, but like over the years, I've like kind of I don't know, I'm just not as into him anymore. I have a lot of personal reasons for that. They're all very biased opinions.
Because you got married and had her not married, but he had kids.
No,
I'm
he
just
like he just like started posting a bunch of political stuff, and I was just like, I don't care about politics at all anymore. So I'm just like, I don't want to see that. I want to see you ripping on a board, dude. Like, yeah, kind of ruined it. Yeah, it was the kids and the wife. Yeah.
Fair. Is there any female riders that influence you at all, or you look up to?
I mean, I think I love like watching everyone ride. There's no particular rider I've been like, I guess I really love watching Victor De La Rue ride. So I guess that would be like a good example of like someone I love watching ride, but I would never ride any of the things he rides. It looks terrifying.
And when you're saying you're watching them, or like, are these like just like from like Instagram, social media, or are you like watching videos?
Sometimes Instagram and social media. This winter, he like released a film, and like I managed to get in on the list to like have the film, like have a private showing at a house. And we watched it, and it was super cool because it was like in Alaska, and it was also him riding.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it was like really cool to see like a lot of the similar terrain that I got to see this winter. But it was also like, it's terrifying. Like the stuff they're doing is terrifying. Like, especially like now that I've like seen it in real life, I'm like, I would never try to touch any of that, probably.
Me neither.
And that's what I've heard too. Like, it's as much as we say like, oh, we want to ride those lines, or that looks
Yeah.
amazing.
And you
Completely
look at it,
different.
you're like, what is that, dude? Like, is that a 50-degree head wall with spines? I think I'll just stay at home. Can I ride the 40-degree slope over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you started off, just kind of teaching yourself through going to the store, finding a board. And
Yep.
how did you get into the
The backcountry?
How did you get into the backcountry? What sparked your interest in that?
So going back to the Travis Rice thing, there was a movie, I think it was called Fourth Phase. And I was like, when I originally saw that AK segment, I was like, that's the kind of stuff I want to ride eventually. I had no business even thinking I could ride something like that. And I was like, well, I probably should get into the backcountry. So like, I think my third or fourth season, I got a split board and I went and took an avalanche class. And then I got like really into the snow science stuff because I got like really nerdy. I was like really inspired. I had like some mentorship through some people who work for IPAC and some people who work in the industry, and they're really cool.
Shout some names out.
Gabe and Larry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, love those guys.
We love them.
Yeah.
Yep. We need to have Gabe on here.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet he would be on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any support, I think IPAC needs as much support as it can get. That's like, would help him a lot. So they can get some money, you know?
I agree.
I give him my money every year.
So take me through your first backcountry day. Like,
Oh man.
was it a solo day?
First one? I don't know. I don't remember. I've spent so much time in the backcountry now that that's kind of messed up. I don't remember the first one. I know I spent a lot of times like out of the training grounds. I do remember, I mean, I'm still in pretty horrible shape, but like when I took my class, it was in such horrible shape that that I was struggling to make it up 200 vertical feet behind Silver. Like, you know, when you if you ride out of SOB and then you go up the little Silver hill or whatever, then when you come back, you have to hike back up into SOB. And I was just dying. And we were trying to catch the last lift. And I remember Reed grabbing my board for me and skiing ahead. And he was like, you just boot packed the traverse line. And I was like, all right. And he set all my stuff up for me because I was just in such horrible shape back then. Yeah, I was probably pretty close to the first time. I used to be really weak. Now I'm only medium weak.
Gotta build up your endurance, you know?
Yeah, I don't have that anymore either, but it's okay.
I really don't think a lot of us have that.
Yeah.
That endurance that it takes, especially when you first get in there at the beginning of the year.
You should see me and T going up Mount Spokane.
You guys stop and talk and drink a lot of beer? That's what I would like to do.
No, we didn't drink any beer, actually. We crushed up there.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Crushed. Took us 2 hours.
We're still
it was pretty good. It was pretty
20 minutes behind most skiers.
Oh my god, I can't even stick with any of those speeds. It would take me 4 hours probably. Yeah, midnight start for Mount Spokane.
Yeah, even 49 kind of numbered us pretty good.
Yeah.
That was
it was steep.
What did you guys do? You didn't go up around? Did you just go straight up
snow.
under the?
We got into they were opening the next day.
Oh,
they had a Gruber run.
Yeah, but we were on Queen or whatever, going up that way.
I don't know which one.
Well, we ran the groomer track straight up, but it was up a very steep pitch.
Yeah.
So it's we're just either going to go hot and heavy and get to the saddle.
And it was funny because there was a zigzag, an actual skin track. Up
and you're nah, we're just going straight up.
Straight up the groomer. Let's go.
That sounds awful. All right. Remind me not to tour with you guys. I'm you guys want to have a snack and talk for a while? I need to catch my breath for at least 45 seconds every 5 minutes.
Ryan and I's program, though, in the morning is coffee and beer.
Yeah.
And I think we were only coffee at that point. So
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we had I made sandwiches for the top.
Oh,
needed to refuel.
Yeah. All right, getting back into it. Let's so what's your what avalanche awareness trainings like? What's your level right now?
I have a pro one. So your levels go you take your rec 1 and then your rec 2 and then you can take a pro 1 and you can take a pro 2 maybe after a few years. I don't know if I'll ever take the pro 2. They're super expensive. I think that I had to take a personal loan out to take the pro 1. So, it's just the cost for the education level. I think I learned a ton from getting my pro 1. I really enjoy all of my forecasting forms and using my forms every time I go for a tour, but I do think that most people would be fine with just a recreational level 2.
All right, so let's get into who inspires you. Well, I guess we kind of already touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're talking, well, yeah. So maybe we just kind of continue that. I guess when I start thinking about it, we think of the space of the backcountry.
Yeah.
And at least in our area, it's somewhat limited. And I feel also that the ones that aren't there are going out there don't really talk about it as much.
Yeah.
And in our snowboard world, it's even less for females. I feel like a lot of females are skiers, but not so much snowboarders. So when I think of who inspires you, who can you go out ping pong with in this area? Who do you see or who's out there getting it that you might have that inspiration or influence from?
I think the Potato Boys, Essex and Blake and Cam and Steven, they're all really getting after it all the time. They're always super down to talk about snow. Essex and I have had a lot of just back and forth text conversations about snowpack in the area over the last couple seasons. And I think if you're looking to go out, I bet those guys would share their observations with you if they're not posting them.
Mhm.
You can always check IPAC's website. I'm pretty sure they have like the whole observation platform. I haven't been in this area in a couple seasons, so it's been like I haven't caught up. I think they updated the website, so it's all like new and kind of like NWAC's website, and you can see like where avalanches have happened, where observations are. As far as like talking to a local snowboarder who is like very avalanche aware, I would say Larry Banks is like a really good source for that. And like I bet you guys are too. I bet you're better than you think you are. It doesn't take a lot to like make a quality observation.
Yeah. Well, we love our potato boys.
Yeah. Those guys are fun. I got to rip
Um,
bikes with them a couple times and it was like really fun.
Yeah. So again, that's inspiration then, like from the outside of the snowboard world and
Mhm.
skiers, which we have the utmost respect for them and love what they're doing.
Yeah.
But still, it's like it's a fine channel then for
Yeah.
us snowboarders. Again, and then if you think of that female space, that's
There aren't very many.
you-
I know like I think Ellie Ingle, she's like a guide up at Selkirk Powder. She's a snowboarder. I would maybe reach out to her.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of other ones around here.
Yeah.
Like I
It
know
just
there
it's-
are.
it's surprising. I mean, we were kind of like talking about this before. Of we have 5 local mountains that are so close.
Yeah.
And then you have the Kootenays, basically in like let's say 3 hours.
Yeah.
You can get into some heavy mountains, in 360 degrees from us.
Yeah.
And we don't have like this. You think of like Salt Lake or these like powder panic areas, Tahoe, Reno, like where people are just out, and we don't have any of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I think it's a lot of it is like access. Like you were saying earlier, like it's hard to hit stuff. Like for our area in particular, if you want to go somewhere that has low hanging fruit, you kind of have to go to the Cascades or you have to go like to Kootenai Pass.
Mhm.
Because like here we have like Stevens Peak. That's a haul to get into unless you use the resort. And then we have like some backcountry that's adjacent to Silver that's like pretty mellow, to be honest.
Mhm.
But like if you want to get into the Cabinets or the Selkirks, like you need a sled.
Yeah.
Or you need a Schweitzer Pass. You could do like the Redneck Traverse. That's pretty fun. But it's like also very committing. Like you're doing 10 to 15 miles of movement just to like make it back to your car, and you have to have 2 cars and like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like hard. I feel like it's hard for our community to like get into the heavy stuff because you need a sled to get into the heavy stuff, which is expensive. I
Right.
had one and I sold it for a reason.
So-
For a number of reasons.
Mechanical nightmares.
So on that note, and I want to circle back on this because I think of like Whistler and their backcountry, and it's all basically snowboard access.
Yeah.
But before I get into that, I do have a comment or a question from Larry,
Okay.
and it is, how much do you love working on a snowmobile?
Me?
Yeah, you.
He knows I owned my sled for like, I don't know, 2 seasons. I don't know if he knows I sold it. Maybe. But I did sell it. I loved it, but it was just like this thing where none of my friends had one. So it turned into, hey, Katrina, can you come take me out into the
Sure.
backcountry? Can you take me for a sled ride for 20 miles? And I'm like, cool, but what happens if our one sled breaks down 20 miles out there? Like, we're cooked. I don't want to be cooked. Like, I don't want to be walking back for 20 miles to my car.
So I heard there was a little bit of that, and I also heard like maybe that working on it might not be you having
Oh.
to spend time working on it, like the
Oh, did he ask me about working on it mechanically?
mechanically.
I never had any huge issues with it. The only issue I ever had with that particular sled was I kicked a rock into the radiator, so it started leaking, and it turned into this thing that like I had to take it to someone to weld it. But other than that, I never had any like mechanical issues with it, so I don't know what he would be referring to.
Yeah, he was
Curious.
kind of leaning into it, breaking down, and then having to work on it.
The key. Oh, I forgot about the key thing. Like, so when I first bought it, you know how they have the little desk key on them?
Yeah.
So I didn't understand how the key worked. And it's like an electronic key. So like it has to match the code that the computer in the sled reads. And if it's not on there just perfectly, it doesn't start. And so I had like gotten all the way out to Burke Summit and parked the sled. And then my friend and I went for a tour and we came back to the sled and I couldn't get it to start. And I was like, what is wrong with it? And I tried so many different things. And like, I even tried messing with the key because I remember when my friend sold it to me, he's like, the key's kind of weird. So like we were fiddling with the key wouldn't do anything. And I like I was like super bummed because I just bought it. And I was like, oh, I just like invested like $3,000 into this thing and it doesn't work. And I think that's probably the only thing you know about. That's what
you're talking about.
Yeah, it had to be it. Yeah, I called my friend who had sold me the sled, who had bought a newer sled, and he came and drug me out. And then I figured out with Gabe that it took like 8 hours of us fiddling with it to find out that if you just like toggled the gas right as you started it, it would like read it and you were fine. And it was like the weirdest little like tick thing. And like when I sold it to the guy, I was like, whatever you do, if you try to put it in reverse and it doesn't work, or you like try to run it, you could just mess with the key and like tab the throttle a little bit and it'll be okay. But yeah, that was I was real mad about it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
What was it? A Polaris?
Oh yeah. Well, no, wait, no, it was Skidoo.
Skidoo?
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, Larry, you Mr. Skidoo man. Call me out. Get out of here, dog.
All right, well, let's keep it going. What's your transition time?
Oh my God, slow. It used to be super fast because I'm on the hard boots, but I just stopped caring about it because a lot of the skiers I was with wouldn't be as fast as me. And I was just like, why am I trying to be fast? Like, why does it matter? We're all up here. Let's have a conversation about the snowpack and a little sneaky snack and look at the view and talk about how sick this line is that we're about to drop.
Hey,
you
what's
know?
the rush, everybody?
Yeah, why are we trying to be so fast? I'm not doing 2 laps. Are you kidding me? That's so dumb. Like, you want me to go up again? I just took my skins and put them in my backpack, dog.
Yeah, game over. Oh, that was a fabulous answer. Yeah. So what was your time? I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Slow. Currently 5 minutes.
Somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes.
Yeah. 5 and 28 minutes. Depends on how much alcohol you have in your backpack.
Somewhere between a ham sandwich and a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals for this season or for life, backcountry?
I'd love to get back out to Baker. I really want to go back. There's like a lot of places I want to go visit right now.
Where in Baker?
I just love the Baker backcountry. I also love the resort. Resort's sick, but like, there's a couloir that I skied 3 or 4 years ago, and when we did it, the conditions weren't great, and my friend ragdolled the whole thing. So I like ended up going down after him to make sure he was okay and not just riding it for fun. And I'd love to go back and do the couloir for fun. That would be sick. Yeah.
Sorry, but what was you were leading into something else?
I was just saying, don't go with the ragdoll again.
He's actually a good guy. He just forgot to like put his boots. He was a skier. He forgot to put his boots in ski mode, so they were in walk mode. So he went to take a turn, and then he just like tumbled. And there was this huge rock in the bottom of it too. And I was just like, I videotaped like the first 200 feet, and then I was like, oh, he's still going. I'm gonna put this away now. Make sure he's okay. Yeah.
You were saying and other spots.
Oh, other spots. I'd love to go back to Jackson. My friend Gabrielle works for the Bridger Teton Avalanche Center, and I just want to go hang out with her and dig pits and taste snow.
Like ride the pass or like actual like Jackson?
She's forecast for the whole area, and I don't know if you know this about. I always just thought that it was the pass, like that they were forecasting for. They're forecasting for like hundreds and hundreds of square miles, like of the backcountry out there. So they go into the grays. They go into like, I'd have to see the map. I think they even sometimes touch on the Wind River, maybe. But they go like way out there and they're forecasting all kinds of stuff. So when I went out and shadowed her like 2 seasons ago, I got to go in. I want to say we went into the Grays for a little ways. And it was like probably the most faceted snowpack I've ever seen in my life, which I loved. I was like, look at these huge crystals.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's so cool. So
I'm not familiar. Where are the Grays at from?
They're like south. Man, I'm probably going to say the wrong place and sound like a total idiot, but I think they're southeast of Jackson, like an hour or 2 away from town.
Okay.
Like, so you got like the Tetons.
Wyoming.
Yeah, they're all in Wyoming. There's like the Tetons, and then there's like more mountains down here. Just like, it's crazy. Like when you're standing in the Tetons, if you're standing like on any of the ridges and you look out, it's just mountains everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And like for whatever reason, my brain was like, cool, these are the only mountains in Wyoming. It's just these ones, the Tetons. But there's so many out there.
Yeah, I don't really know that. I mean, we spent a lot of time in Jackson having friends that have lived down there for like 10 years. We had, guides that were either ski patrol or professional skiers.
Yeah.
But being on boards, I know there were some areas that they were like, we'll take you everywhere that you can get to, but there's other areas that unless, we really have known you for a long time, we're not going to take you.
Yeah.
That's awesome that, there's so much to explore between here and there.
Yeah. That is like one really cool thing about Spokane is like the more I've thought about it, the more I kind of like it here, because like we're 3 to 8 hours away from like all of the best mountains in the country. Like you can't get to Colorado in 8 hours, but like their snowpack's always fucked anyway. So
I'd rather go to BC anyway, right?
Yeah, go to
steeper,
BC.
It's steeper up here.
Yeah.
There's lots of rocks down in the Rockies.
Yeah. Just get a rock right through the top sheet.
They do have that elevation though.
Yeah.
True.
You like not breathing?
I like snow.
That's fair. I also like snow.
Those rainstorms that just came in.
Dude, I'm really bummed.
If we were at 14,000 feet.
It would be a different story. Yeah.
If we were at like 6,000 feet.
Dude. Do you think it rained or snowed up at Silver?
We were up there.
You were up there?
Yesterday.
Oh,
the whole snowpack has gone to shit.
Fuck.
It will come back though.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure.
It was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Did you go up Wardner?
I wanted to.
No. We did 3 Wardner laps on Tuesday though.
We did.
They were really good.
Yeah.
I destroyed a board, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I destroyed a board as well.
Was it the Karua?
Thank you, Solnix, for working on my board. They just called me, so I didn't answer.
Nice. Oh.
Must be ready. So quick turnaround. So if you need a quick turnaround on a board that's been absolutely destroyed,
they could be calling and tell you that your board's fucked.
it's cooked. Sorry.
And then on the other end, I would thank Pistol Board Shop for easy access to picking up a board the next day to be able to ride.
Boom.
At the ready. All right. Well, I had one other question before we get into Alaska. How many miles do you think you put on a split board a year? Do you track it? You got a Garmin on.
I do track. I usually track my vertical and like my days and not necessarily miles, because sometimes I'll like go a really long ways, but it's flat before I even start going up. But last season,
That's still miles.
Still miles. That's the thing. And like, I just don't track them. I don't know. Last season was like the least snowboarding I've ever done in a season. I think I only got like 9 days, which was kind of crazy. But before that, I was like averaging like 40 days in the backcountry and like 30 to 40 days at the resort too.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I was going out a lot. But this
All
last
right, so
season,
I would like a number.
a number. I don't know, dog.
No.
I can dig if you need it. I could say like, I think that one season when I tracked it, I had climbed like, I want to say like 70,000 feet or something that season, but
Damn.
I don't know. I could be way off.
What I just think it's crazy because like we climb, you climb Mount Spokane, you climb, 49 or whatever,
Yeah.
and just a couple miles,
Yeah.
and you're cooked. You're like, that's one run. Like,
Yeah.
oh, sweet, you just went 2 miles and then you rode 1 mile down.
Yeah.
It took you all day too.
Yeah. You walked all day. You want to do another lap?
Yeah.
The hell?
So it doesn't really add up. You don't really start stacking miles. So that's why I just thought it would be interesting because you are out there. So if you are tracking that and want to let us know the end of this year,
Yeah.
it'd be a cool number, I think.
See if I actually do it as much. I feel like I'm going to split board less this season. I'm just going to enjoy riding the resort because like I have the luxury of it,
Yeah.
It's here.
Do it.
Where's your pass? Do you have a silver pass?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Silver, always. Yeah. Except for those 2 seasons I was Schweitzer. I knew I was going to catch flack. As soon as I came back, I was like, oh no, everybody's going to say stuff about it.
You got to venture out. It's the best mountain. In my opinion, it's the best mountain around. So
Silver or Schweitzer?
Schweitzer.
Terrain wise, yeah.
Terrain wise.
Yeah. I just hate that like in 2 hours it's tracked like on a powder day. Yeah. It's a bummer. But at Silver, it's like all day you can find untouched snow.
I mean, Silver gets tracked out within 2 hours.
Yeah, Silver gets tracked out every day, always. Sorry, I shouldn't have. You can cut that.
Cody's never heard
Cut
of
it
her.
out.
Yeah.
Silver sucks, man. I have to stand in line. The lifts are so slow. You have to
The
take like
gondola
3
always
lifts.
breaks down too. So.
Yeah, the gondola breaks down all the time. Always when you're over Warner and have no chance of escape.
Oh my gosh! So we are gonna jump ship on this. Ryan, how do you feel when the gondola stops over Warner?
I literally want to just not. Just it's the worst thing in the world.
I just want to not.
Yeah. Just
We need to get this man in a helicopter.
yeah.
What? So what about? Do you get like the?
I used to be so scared of it, and now I do not care at all. I don't care. Do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Come from someone who's afraid of heights,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Well, it's all changed. The helicopters changed it all.
What about the climbing too?
Changed the climbing.
Yeah.
I used to not be interested in lead climbing at all, and then with the helicopters and the near deaths, it was like, wow, I have a rope.
We'll get more into the climbing here.
Yeah.
But
But I think that's a good segue into. So looking at last season, just kind of like saying this out loud. But looking at last season, spending AK.
Yeah.
Maybe explain what you were doing, but maybe the year before, because I don't know where you were at. Like if you were in, I think you were in Idaho, or
Yeah.
so if you kind of give us a recap of, what you did 2 seasons ago, what we were doing in AK, kind of how you made your path up there, because you already talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah.
that'd be great.
So I was dating a guy who worked for Schweitzer Ski Patrol. So when that happened, I moved up to Sandpoint. I was living in Sandpoint, and I was living in McCall in the summer because he's a wildland firefighter in the summer. We bounced back and forth. I think I only lived in McCall for 1 season. I lived in Sandpoint for 2 seasons, or 1.5 technically, because I went to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in McCall, I was looking around for just jobs, entry-level jobs, or starter jobs as an avalanche forecaster on the American Avalanche Association website. And if you're a professional or an aspiring professional, it's a great resource. You can go on there, and it's under pro listings. You can look and see what they have. And a lot of the time, it's way more advantaged for skiers. This is part of why I'm kind of just giving up on this whole forecasting thing, because I'm a snowboarder, and it's not really respected because I can't throw explosives or go to a resort and work and mitigate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not respected or seen the same.
Crazy.
But it is crazy, but it's just what it is, But I saw this listing for Valdez Heli Ski Guides, and I was like, there's no chance I'll get this. And it was assistant avalanche forecaster or something. I was like, well, it's an assistant job at least. So I shot on my resume. I was like, hey, I'm just this aspiring guy, and I have all this experience. You want to let me try? And he was like, yeah, you're not even close to what we need, but we are hiring for dispatch and ground crew, which is fuel people, and then the people who talk to the helicopters on the radio. And so I applied for that, and then I interviewed with the lady on the phone. She's like, you got the job. And I was like, holy shit, I'm going to Alaska.
Yeah,
Which
awesome.
was super out of left field. I didn't think it was going to happen at all. And then, we moved back to Sandpoint. I lived in Sandpoint last season for the beginning of the season, and then moved to Alaska in February. And that was a 3-month or 4-month. I don't remember. It was February until May I was there. But yeah, that's kind of how I found the job, and then just went for it. And I would just say, if you just want to go work in the heli ski industry, it's not that hard. Just email all of the heli ski operators. Be like, I would like to fuel helicopters. They're always looking for people.
Yeah.
So if you want free helicopter flights and
So,
paid, I guess.
it's a good way to get your foot in the door too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so maybe not the path that you were looking for, but that's great advice for someone that maybe wants to get into that lane without some of the education that you have.
Yeah, and it's definitely a very ski bum atmosphere. The living situation there for me last season was really good, but this season wasn't going to be good. I was going to go from living in a cabin with 1 other person to living in a yurt with 5 people. And then I was going to be paid the same. It was just a lot of stuff that they downgraded, and I was like, well, I'm not coming back with all my experience and making the same amount of money. And they were like, yeah, you will. And I was like, no, I won't. So that's why I'm not going back. It's sad, but it's just if you're down to suck it up and be a lifty basically, then it's super worth it. I mean, the experience of flying around in a helicopter and seeing all that terrain and getting to go ride is I can't believe I managed to somehow pull it off, to be honest.
Right. So it was definitely worth it. And that leads into, I think, my most personal question that I want to know is, how much heli time did you get? How much did you get to ride?
I got paid to heli ski for 5 days, which is a considerable amount.
Paid
Yeah, I got paid because we were paid weekly.
Yeah.
And it was like a flat rate salary thing. So I got paid the days I was in a helicopter.
Sick.
Yeah, and that's
insane.
like for pricing, like an idea of pricing, we would charge like $100,000 for somebody to be there for a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well,
It might be worth it. You might want to call them. I think they're hiring a
So-
dispatcher.
I won't be heli skiing ever.
Well, you go
Helicopters
for
are
a
scary.
They are terrifying, dude. I was so scared of flying like in an airplane, and like on the flight to Alaska, I was just like, I'm not looking out the window ever. And then like after flying around the helicopters, like I think it helped a lot that I knew all of our pilots like very personally. So I was like, oh, these guys aren't gonna crash me into the side of a mountain unless they
Yeah.
have no choice. And like flying around in a helicopter is so fucking sketchy, dude. Like you just like lose elevation for no reason. Like I remember I actually have it on video. Because I was just like panning around the helicopter when it happened. And we were like flying over this ridge. And as you approach the ridge, apparently the helicopters can create their own turbulence. And it's called like vortex ring state, basically. And they like create so much turbulence that they get caught in it and it's dead air. So they just fall out of the sky. And like we lost like 300 feet of elevation in like half a second. And I was just like, oh, we're dying. And I like looked at the pilot and he made like a little face. And I was like, oh, he's never done that before. We're like cooked, dude. And I like turned off the video because I was like, my mom can't see this.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's super scary. But then everything else is so chill because helicopters are terrifying.
Those guys are all cowboys too, right? They probably do
Oh my
like wildland firefighting in the summer. Like
Oh my God, dude.
those guys are badasses.
The wildland firefighting stuff is like also regulated. Like I know enough about that because my ex like was working out of helicopters for his job in wildland. And like they can't do anything fun. They have to like slowly take off, slowly fly places. They were telling me, they're like, it's so boring. I don't want to work wildland. Like I just want to land on the ridgeline and then dive off of it. And I'm like, you guys are crazy.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite run up there or favorite zone or something that was there that like most memorable?
Most memorable. Well, the most memorable day I think I had out there was one of my favorite guides was like only going to be that he was like only there for like a certain amount of time. I think he was only there till like right at the end of February. So right before he left, he had like a week where he wasn't working and he was just like going for tours for fun because he had an AMGA certification coming up. And I was like, you want to go for a tour? And he's like, yeah, let's go ski the north face of Diamond. And I was like, I've seen that thing. It looks fucked up. And I don't think I'm strong enough to get up there. And so we like go touring, clearly did not have enough time, but we make it to these things. It's like this ridgeline called the Carrots. And we're like, it's kind of late in the day. And I'm like, dude, it's kind of warm out. And he's like, yeah, I think we'll be okay though. And I was like, all right. And so we like boot pack up this giant face. And then we get to the top and we're like stoked. And then he like rips a line. And he's like, all right, when you go in, just cut like really hard left and just keep cutting until I say go. And like we have radios. So we're like talking back and forth. And he's watching me. And I like go to cut. I cut really far. And he's like, okay. And so I take my first turn. Oops. And it like, I watch like a little propagation like happen in front of me. And I'm like, oh, it's happening. Like I'm cooked. And like this slab like pops and I like dig my knees in as hard as I can. I'm like, all right, I gotta stop. And I manage to stop and like the snow washes over my board and I look down. I'm like, okay, it's only like a 6-inch slab. We're good. But like it goes down and like in the video that I have of it, it was like pretty sizable. Like I think if I had gotten caught and carried, I probably would have been partially buried, maybe fully buried. I don't know. But the rest of that line, like riding, I was like scared because I was like, what if the rest of this face rips? But also I was like, this is so sick. And I like rode the rest of the line and I was like, oh, that was like the sickest line I think I've ever ridden in my life. Yeah, that's pretty memorable.
Rad.
Yeah.
What was their season like last year? Was it like low, medium?
So deep.
It was good. Good
Yeah,
year?
it was apparently like a record breaking year
Wow.
up there. Yeah. Like when I got there, our cabin was like snowed in so much that like there was so much snow on the roof. We were worried about the roof collapsing on my roommate because we had like a loft kind of situation. So I was in the downstairs and she had the loft and like the boards were like bowing in. And we were like, maybe you shouldn't sleep under that.
Yeah.
Maybe come downstairs. Yeah.
It sounds like you made a good call getting out of here last season
Yeah.
to Alaska.
For sure.
Yeah. I got lucky. I got really lucky.
Jeff had a question though.
Yeah.
Him not being here. He says, any extreme safety measures or do you have a scary story? So it sounds like you kind of had, that's kind of a sketchy story that you just shared, but
Yeah.
was there any other maybe extreme like safety measures that you could share that were different, maybe because of the heli? I mean, I don't know.
Man, I don't know
How
how much
huge-
I'm allowed to say. The Arctic Cowboys is the best way to describe that place. Like, there's a lot of wild things that were happening that I think were not necessarily the safest or smartest. But then, like, it was also very, like, very well, like, everyone there just has so much experience. Like, I can't say anything bad about them. Like, I don't think that anyone was, like, being stupid. I just think that, like, they're all like have such high risk tolerances that like the things they were doing were probably like very low risk in their opinion, but in my opinion was just like, you're doing what? you're what? There's a surface horror layer buried 40 centimeters deep and you're just taking clients out in avalanche terrain and like ripping avalanches? Okay. Like, it's pretty common. So, you know.
So that kind of maybe the yellow and red flags are in different areas.
Yeah, but also I would say about their snowpack, like it is the only way I can describe Valdez's snowpack would be like magical. Like that surface horror layer was gone in a week. It was just erased.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. Like here, if that happened to be like a 2 to 3 month problem, but there it was just like a week of snow and weather and wind, and like it was so compacted that it wasn't reactive anymore.
Dang.
Yeah.
Probably 'cause it's closer to the coast or something.
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so that answers Jeff's question.
Is there a cat?
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't know where it's coming from.
We got a cat in the studio.
Maybe it's outside.
It's loose.
I was gonna say, is Jeff out there? This gets us into your board setup. So what are you rocking when you're in the resort, and then what are you rocking when you're split board?
The resort, I've got the Nitro Cannon, which I love. It's like probably my favorite board. And then I bought a Karua dart, and I was like, I hate this board because I would like go from riding the Cannon to the dart, and I expected them to be similar rides, but the dart is like you have to drive it. It is a very like specific shape. But then I like started the season on it this season because I was like, who cares if I wreck this thing? And now I'm like, I kind of love it a little bit, and I don't want to wreck it. So, those are my 2 resort boards at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
then
the mirror opposite because the cannon's huge.
yeah.
Right?
Well, the dart is also pretty big. It's
Is
a
it?
160.
Oh, wow.
Mine is a 160.
They look a lot smaller because it'll swallow tail.
But they're also like wide. I think that the dart is way wider than the cannon. The cannon is like narrower and maybe a little bit less firm.
Yeah,
The dart's really firm.
Yeah, the cannons have a lot of play in them.
Yeah, it's like a lot more forgiving. But it's also a lot harder riding trees like that one time. You remember when I died in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like near Moon Boots or whatever. I was like, I'll
yeah.
take this 173 hog through these tight trees. It'll
Massive.
be fine.
Take your Chrysler van.
Oh my God. Best description for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And maybe this is an elephant in the room, but I could be, maybe it's just the cat. But are you rocking hard boots all the time?
Just in the backcountry.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have the Escalator Split Plus with the hard boots for the backcountry. When I first started, I was like on the gold member with like the heaviest TM 32 boots and the spark bindings, and it was just like so heavy. And when I switched from that to the Karua setup, I think I cut like 9 pounds off my feet or something crazy.
Oh,
I like weighed it, and it was that big of a difference.
That's
So,
wild.
Yeah. I'm like,
So-
still slow, but whatever.
So what bindings do you have then on the, like if you break down your split board?
I have the Phantom hard boot bindings, and then the Phantom slipper boots, which they stopped making, I think, this year, which is kind of sad, but we'll see what happens with that.
And they're like a hard like snowboard boot, but they're not like a ski boot, right?
They're the bottom part of the shell of the boot is like the atomic backland, and then the top part is like they skeletonized this. It's kind of like you're just wearing a liner without any top, and then there's like a thing that kind of goes around the back of your calf, but not really around the front. So they ride very similarly to a snowboard boot. They take some adjusting, like going back and forth. I will definitely like bite it at least once, like if I switch in the same day or like really soon. But I like the hard boots in the backcountry. I do think they're a huge pain.
Do you think do you like him? You like him because of like the approach when you're going up?
Yeah, like they cut a lot of weight. I feel like I have a lot more traction on skin tracks. My kick turns are really like smooth. I don't feel like I'm dragging my like foot around. I really like that I can put automatic crampons on my boots. They work really well with the BGT Ascent plates. I have the verts too, but I think the Ascent plates are kind of better because of where they're positioned under your feet, because they have like more platform behind your heel, and then the front of your foot just goes straight into the snow. Versus with the verts, you're like kind of like stepping in. You have to kick it in, and if there's any hard snow at all, you're not going to get any purchase. So those are like the bigger differences, I think.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think like if you're just like trying to have fun, stay in soft boots, you know?
Yeah.
If you're not trying to torture yourself. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's great insight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually one of Jeff's questions as well. And is there anything special you like to bring with you in your pack? Are you like so I love Sour Patch Kids, so like that'd be something that I'm always gonna pack.
Probably my
with
100
me.
centimeter snow saw.
Your snow saw?
My 100 centimeter snow saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I labeled it Thick Rick. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. I always take tea. That's something that I learned from Melissa. Like on one of my maybe that wasn't my first tours, but like one of my first tours, I like didn't really do any cardio activities at all. So I got like super dehydrated on this tour with her, and she had tea, and it like straight up saved my life. So now I always take tea with me.
Smart.
Yeah.
Nice and light.
Something
Easy.
warm. Yeah.
And then Jeff, this is definitely a question that he would have asked if he were here. And I'm just gonna say what he said, and then we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
It says duct tape. What comes to
Oh
mind?
my god.
How do
Silver,
you
the
use
old
it?
silver crotch story, huh? Dog.
Silver crotch.
So, I'm a large woman. And I have this ability to blow out pants, usually bibs. And I think it was my birthday like a few years ago. I don't remember. And do you know Mark Van Harn?
Mm-mm.
He's like one of my favorite people to ride with. He's a skier. And he's like local to Silver. So you'll probably see him up there this season. But he has duct tape on his poles. And it was my birthday, and I like leaned over to like I like was straight up just standing in one binding, and I like kneeled to like tighten the binding and blew the crotch out on my pants. And I'm like, cool, so this is the end of my day. And Mark's like, no, I have duct tape. So he put this huge strip of duct tape on my crotch. And then all day people were calling me Silver Crotch. And I was like, all right, cool.
What a legend, though. He just carries around duct tape with him?
Yeah, he just has it on his poles.
That's
It's really smart. Yeah.
I do it in my water bottle.
I needed that the other
I
day.
put
on my
like
boats.
electrical tape on my water bottle.
Yeah, it's a water bottle. That's my backcountry. Even like in kayaking, wherever we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even put on a Jameson bottle one trip.
Nice.
Smart.
Yeah, when you're gonna get real drunk, you're gonna need that duct tape.
You never know.
You might need to tape this bottle to something.
Oh, that's great. I had no idea where that was going.
You're like,
So
we'll just
as we
leave it at that.
transition from Silver Crotch, we would also like to give a shout out to Uprise Brewery that we have going here with their silver cans.
What a transition.
I know, right? And again, just giving them a shout out, a big thank you for them offering us some brews to drink while we're having this conversation.
Really good.
They're big in supporting the community, and they're located in Kendall Yards. They're just off the Centennial Trail. It's an all-age tap room, and they do a couple fun nights. So they on Monday nights they have Run Club. It starts at 5:15. It's on the they meet out on the patio, and this is all year long, which is kind of crazy to me. The run starts at 5:30. Runners of any age, all experiences, skill levels. Yeah, not necessarily maybe something we're into, but if you're into running, great. Then also, you like the trivia, you want to, score some points, have a good night with the friends every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Free to play, teams of 6. They have trivia. So trivia on Tuesdays. Again, support our community, support local, support Uprise Brewery. Cool.
Boom.
That's good.
You talked a little about this, but we're thinking of passions that are outside that snowboarding realm. So rock climbing.
Big rock climbing now. Yeah. I like wasn't as in. I was like into it before I moved to Idaho, but I didn't really like go into the alpine or anything. I was just like climbing top rope and at the gym. And then this season I got really into the alpine.
And how'd you get into? Where was that? How'd you get into climbing?
Originally kind of the same as the snowboard thing. I just like walked into Wild Balls one day and I was like, I'm scared of heights. This will help.
Yeah.
And so I like decided to try it out. And I took like a lead climbing class and like took some lead falls, which are not fun. It's really scary. And then like got into just hanging out on top rope for a long time. And then the whole like being exposed to like actually scary, dangerous things like kind of changed my mind about climbing in the alpine and climbing on lead. And like it made me more confident in myself, I think, because I was like, even if I was to fall, I have a rope and it's way safer than being in a helicopter.
Well, I just think that transferable skills of maybe some of the areas that you want to go to as well, of like just like
Yeah, the
feeling confident
mountaineering.
on mountaineering, feeling comfortable with a rope, how to tie knots, like
Yeah,
the communication that you might have with someone in a scenario like that.
yeah, like
Um,
rappelling skills and all that stuff all ties in.
Yeah.
Like I got into it definitely because I had been into snowboarding. I was like, eventually I want to be kind of like a snowboard mountaineer. I'm gonna need to know how to do all this stuff. And like I've only really barely touched like the start of trad climbing, and I really need to learn how to like ice climb and mix climb if I want to like be really good.
mhm.
But it's just like those things are way scary.
You say that now.
Yeah, I say that now. Give me like 6 months. We'll be talking. I'll be like, oh, love ice climbing.
Yeah.
So fun. Come on, Ryan. Come on up.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say on the rock climbing, category here, it sounds like you created a little meme page too that
Oh
is
yeah.
starting to create
Big-
some traction.
Big perp energy. Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out Big Perp.
Yeah,
How'd
big
that,
perp.
How'd that come about?
So my climbing partner and I, who met in June this year, he's the one who taught me how to lead trad. It's hard to explain this whole thing, so I'm going to try and make it really basic. But basically, there's this one piece of equipment no one ever wants to take on their climb with them because it's just too heavy, and it's the big purple cam. And we made it our goal when we were on this trip to place it everywhere we possibly could on the trip, because it's like the whole trip we were reading the guidebook and it was like, oh, gear to 2 inches, and the purple cam is 5-inch cam. And we were like, well, let's just take it up and see if we can place it. We could place it on every single route, on every single pitch we climbed. And we're like, interesting. So all of the guidebooks are a lie, you say? And so we started this entire like meme page based off of it, and it's gained a lot of traction, which is kind of crazy because we didn't expect it. He was like, we should start a meme page. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then like a week later, I was like, these are actually pretty funny ideas. What if we just did it? And then we did it, and now, yeah, we got like stuff from Black Diamond sent to us, and like been sending stickers.
Couple viral
international.
videos too.
Oh my god, one of them, the first video that went viral makes no sense to me. He's just shit talking these people from the top of a mountain. Apparently, everybody loves it or hates it. Maybe it's the hate. Maybe we just
The
need to make-
combination of the two.
Yeah, it's the combination of the two, probably. But like, we're being super facetious, and like, people are like, you lose the attitude, get off the mountain, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, obviously we're joking because it took us like 15 hours to not even finish a 5.5. So, like, I don't know what to tell you, but we were kidding around. Yeah.
What's the
Climbing grade?
No. I was saying,
okay.
what's the name of it? Like,
Oh, Big Perp Energy.
on Instagram?
Yeah, on
Okay.
Instagram. If you want to see our dumb memes that you probably won't understand.
I don't understand
trad.
it. But I'm like, this shit has like 100,000 views. My God. Someone must understand it.
It's all other idiots out there doing what we're doing,
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like you're having fun, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
You have a good sense of humor, so it shows through.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's like really all I want in life is like to have fun. I don't know why everybody has to be so serious all the time, Just want to laugh about it.
serious?
Why so serious?
Speaking of serious life, transitioning into kind of this vagabond kind of like movement going on, right?
Yeah.
So you're like bouncing here, there. I mean, you're kind of stationed here for a little bit.
For now, yeah. I mean, I just took a job at a local locksmith, American Lock and Key. If you ever lock yourself out of your car or your house, or you just need keys made and stuff, come on down. So
A little plug there.
Little
Shameless
plug.
You want to share any
Shameless
money and
plug for the
support,
boys.
support the podcast?
they probably would at some point. But yeah, I'm probably gonna stay here for the foreseeable future. I don't know. I think long term, I would love to live in like Bozeman or Bellingham, and the only reason is because I want to be like closer to the mountains and closer to like low hanging fruit. And I feel like we don't have a lot of that here. And I do love our community and I love where we're located, but like the effort you have to put in to get into the mountains here is more than I want.
Yeah.
I just want to like walk out my front door, dog, and be on top of the mountain. I don't want to have to walk for 5 hours. That was a joke.
Well, I'm just,
You're gonna laugh or not, dude?
well, my mind's computing because I was thinking of like where you're at, like compared to Bozeman and Bellingham, because I lived in Bellingham,
Yeah,
and Baker's still a drive,
it's still a drive, but it's
Get
not
there.
like
but then you don't need to sled.
you don't have to sled. Like this,
You're
I
just
don't have a
there.
sled anymore. So
Yeah.
like for me, that access is gone, which is sad. But also, I love my motorcycle, so I
Yeah.
can't. Yeah,
Yep.
really change that.
Well, speaking of the motorcycles, let's get into the motorcycles.
Oh, yeah,
what's up with that?
I-
Looks like you're doing some moto camping.
Yeah, I
Oh.
got a big-ish bike as a 2014 Triumph Tiger XC 800XC. Wow, don't even remember what kind of bike I had.
Sorry, no
It's been so
indiscretion.
long.
No
Yeah,
indiscretion.
I mean it's only been like 3 months since I got to ride it last or whatever. So,
Touchy
but yeah.
subject.
Yeah, touchy subject. I don't even remember it anymore. I'm pretending it doesn't exist in my garage. And I've been riding it a bunch. I got it in June of 2 years ago, June of a year and a half ago, and I've put like 25,000 miles on it now, I think. But also, you want to talk about mechanicking, I have torn into that thing because the guy who owned it before me did not treat it well. And I didn't know this when I bought it, and I rode it back from Colorado and was like, oh, there's all these problems. And the current problem is burning a lot of oil. So if anybody has any tips or tricks on how to not have that happen, I would love to know. I'm burning like quarter quart every 400 miles.
Oof.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Don't look at me. Wrong guy.
Can you help me, Ryan?
Maybe a gasket or something? I don't know.
I've looked everywhere. It's not leaking. It's a burn for sure. Anyway, yeah, love that thing. Love ripping.
Have you done any like cool trips that are notable?
The first season I got it, we rode like 500 miles of the Idaho BDR. I didn't do the whole thing because we were like just doing it in pieces on the weekends when we could. And I want to say the Magruder was super cool. It was probably one of my favorite rides on dirt.
And you're moto camping, right?
Yeah. So you're like going, like the Magruder itself is like 100 miles between gas stations and you're on dirt for 70 of it or so. And we found out when we got to Elk City, because we did it like from Lolo Pass. Also, never ever, unless you're on just a dirt bike, never ever ride Lolo Pass. That was the most terrifying thing I have ever done in my life. Like I thought I was going to send my bike off a cliff and die. Like the rocks are like the size of like, I don't know.
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit. I like that better than the baby heads because people call them baby heads, and I'm like, that's so weird, dude.
Oh.
Like, why would you call them baby heads? But like, they're the size of grapefruit, and it's just like a bunch of them, and like it's super slippery, and you got like this 500-pound bike with like 200 pounds of gear on it. And you're just trying to wrestle your way down the road. I didn't like that part, but the Magruder was really sick. But we found out when we got to Elk City, this dude had like broken his collarbone like on the pass right in the middle of it. And like it took like his partners like riding back and forth like I think almost like 500 miles of ferry trips to get his stuff out of there.
Oh wow.
Which is crazy.
That's crazy.
And they did it in like 2 days. They all looked wiped. I was like, damn, you guys are badass. I wouldn't do it twice.
Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And
Good,
then
good friends right there.
yeah, they are good friends. They didn't leave his bike to be helicoptered out or whatever. And then the Beartooth Pass Highway.
Oh, yeah.
I would highly recommend that. Probably one of the sickest rides I've ever been on.
Have you snowboarded there?
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
Jeff and I did.
It's really cool. I love that area. I think they're selling the resort, which is really sad.
I heard last end of last year was, well, even though I don't even know if they opened, but I knew they were
They
selling.
Yeah.
Question 2 via
Oh.
Jeff. Let's all right. What comes to mind when I say bushwhacking to the car?
Really thick are alder branches. Does that sound right?
I don't know. That's all we
This is
all
a
we
question
have.
via Jeff, so
VHF? What
Yeah.
now?
yeah, it's just a question via Jeff. So
Oh, via Jeff. Via Jeff.
Have you guys bushwhacked together?
We've
I have
bushwhacked together, but I don't remember what we were doing. I don't think it was to the car, unless we were like we might have been on the power lines coming back down, and like had to like duck under stuff. But I don't think that we've ever bushwhacked with a car together.
Oh, I'm sure
He's gonna
you've
chest.
had plenty of
I've
bushwhack.
had
was
lots of bushwhack
I was trying to think
experiences.
of the time maybe when you guys were at Silver, but maybe you snowmobiled up or you had someone snowmobile you up. I know there was something. It's off of the power lines. It's not the power lines, but it's that diamond,
I can't remember.
whatever.
I've been having the hardest time. It's like the mine. I can't remember the name of it. It sucks.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know
that's
exactly
that's
what
the
you're
only
talking
thing.
about.
That's the only thing I can think that he maybe was talking about. But
But there wasn't any there's no bushwhacking there really. I mean, like there's maybe a tiny bit getting down to the road that takes you back to the power lines, but
Yeah.
I don't think that.
duct
Oh,
tape
that
duct
was
tape
it.
story was way better. So we'll
Yeah,
we'll
duct
stick-
tape
we'll
story
stick-
was fantastic.
We'll stick with that one.
I had forgotten that one.
Oh yes.
Oh god, I'm scared about this.
Come on, we need to.
It's
I need to
time.
wake up.
Yeah, we need to hit this
Is
guy.
there like,
I've been
can I
holding
just
it
do
for
a
like an
secondary
hour.
residual from one of you guys to like test it out?
You
Or
can.
you
I mean,
make
you
me just
can.
raw dog
Yeah.
it?
I mean, you can.
But you
Your
just
faces, you can't.
you should just blast your own to get right to the eyeball.
Eyeball, dude.
Yeah, you can start. You can start it from far
Every-
away, but you should just start. You just need to get in it.
It's good for
Everybody,
you.
It's a great start.
how is it good for you?
It's good for your.
What is this? What's in here?
Well, I'm
meat
just looking at the back.
alcohol.
It says it looks like
Alcohol,
ammonia.
35%.
30.
Ammonia, 15%.
It says keep out of the reach of children, but great for adults. Did you see that? Thank you.
I don't see great
Run through
for
a wall of
adults.
smelling halts.
Where are you seeing that?
It didn't say that.
Okay, that's like, dog, is yours different than mine?
All right, so blast off on 3.
Okay, how do we do it?
You just
Instruct.
You just squeeze.
You just squeeze it?
yeah, and it'll turn
just
red.
pop it.
Red means good.
Red means dead. All right.
1, 2, 3.
Why?
Oh, damn.
Brandon, do you
It's
want
like-
in on this?
Do you feel alive?
It hurts.
Don't you feel alive
It
though?
hurts, dog. What the fuck?
I'm feeling great.
At first, I was like, this smells like
Ammonia.
house cleaning supplies. And then I was like, oh no.
Sweet.
It
Now,
hurts.
now that we're all alive and ready to party.
All right.
Is my brain supposed to be coming out of my eye right now?
Dude, mine was my left eye.
You guys promised it
Left
wouldn't
eye,
make the
left
sniffles
eye,
come back, and they're back.
Oh,
You're
I
good.
thought it would help. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right, kick her off. We got our little
All
hot
right,
takes.
we're gonna take us into hot takes here.
Okay.
Resort on a POW day or backcountry POW?
Resort on a POW day.
That was a surprise answer.
No. Why would I work if there's a
Sure.
chairlift, dog?
No, I'm not. You're the one
I'm
putting
with
like
you on that.
30 days in the backcountry.
Yeah.
Favorite local mountain to ride?
Silver for sure.
And your favorite run is the North Face Glades, right?
Oh, we're not talking about my favorite run, dog.
No, it's the North Face Glades.
It's definitely like probably just Quicksilver. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Is that even on Silver or is
I
that
have
on
no idea.
Schweitzer? I'm just making runs
I
up.
think maybe it's.
I think
I
it's
don't
a
know. I'm
Schweitzer.
horrible with the names. I was calling Silverbills, I think, for the last 3 weeks. So
You like silver balls?
Silverballs.
Who transitions faster, you or Larry?
Probably Larry. Because I've started taking my time so much. But also, like, I think when we've been touring together, we both just kind of like, we dig a pit and we're like looking at the snow or talking about things rather than like trying to speed transition. So I've never like raced him.
I'm sure he's probably in race mode all the time, whether you guys
Yeah.
are just chilling or not.
Yeah. He's probably just secretly being competitive over there. He's like, I'm so fast.
I just know when we did our like Abbey one, I was like, holy shit, he's so fast. What is your skin track pet peeve?
Ooh. When people like who are on skis put their skis so close together that when you're snowboard, like you're like skinning and their skin track behind them, you're still breaking trail.
Yes.
It
I was
happens
complaining
all
about
the
that
fucking
at
time.
Mount Spokane there.
It
I was
is
like,
so annoying. Yeah.
Why are their legs so close together?
Yeah, like I don't need you to walk like another pet peeve is like people who walk with their like legs so far apart it looks like they shit their pants a little bit. Just like, dude, can you just
Find the happy
be
medium.
normal? Why are you like this? Yeah.
We need a measurement like 18 to 36
Yeah.
inches max.
Yeah.
Oh
Get out the tape.
That's awesome.
I'll rate this as 7 of 10 skin track.
All right. Well, favorite person to ride with?
Oh, good question. I don't know right now. Probably my mountain partner, Eli. But like, it's just because he makes everything fun.
So it's all about.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. I don't necessarily like want to. I mean, I definitely want to ride steep stuff. I definitely almost killed him last weekend because I took him into gate 2. Did you guys try gate 2 last weekend?
Nope.
I haven't done that in years.
T is anti-gates.
Oh, really?
I just could for it's my favorite spot.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I wouldn't recommend going in there right now. Well, if you're a snowboarder, go in there. If you know where the rocks are, avoid them.
Yeah.
But if you're a skier who's only skied 14 days in your entire life, and your friend says, let's go into here because you lost a bet, don't go in there.
But your mountain part, or so is your rock climbing partner?
Yeah, rock climbing
Okay.
partner. I would just call him mountaineering partner at this point because, like, we're into skiing together now, too, so.
We'll get on him.
Yeah. He followed me in there. He tomahawked.
Oh, on skis?
Yeah, his ski was like in the tree, and then I watched him slide on his back, head first, downhill into another tree, and I was like, oh, he's
Oof.
cooked. And then he like got up and he's totally fine. And I was like, okay, good. He's all right. But I was like, he was pretty butthurt for the next run and a half. I was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken us back.
We won't do that one again.
We won't do it again.
Backcountry access. Helicopter, snowmobile, or dawn patrol. Which is your favorite?
Well, I mean, all right. So this is going to be because of my experience in Alaska, and if it was free, I would say helicopter. When we went, I spent like a week before I started working at that operation in Valdez touring. I toured like 2 or 3 mountains. And then like 3 days after I got hired, they flew us to the top of like 2 of those mountains. And I was like, this is a 1.5 minute flight for my 5 hours of walking. And I didn't even get to the top on the walk.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it kind of like demoralizes you a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be like probably dawn patrol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Who has taught you the most about avalanche safety?
Probably Gabe White. Yeah. Yeah. I learned a ton in my Pro 1, and I have a lot of mentorship outside of that, which is awesome. But Gabe definitely taught me the most when I started. Excuse me. It's all up here.
Shout out Uprise.
Yeah. Uprise making me burp.
If you had to pick one, and had to leave the others away, snowboarding, rock climbing, or motorcycle touring.
Oh, fuck,
Which one
dude.
are you
You can't
picking?
do that to me.
That's 100% what the
Fuck,
question
Mary,
is.
kill. Let's go.
Yeah.
Snowboarding,
I
rock
almost-
climbing, motorcycle touring.
I almost put that in because
Did
you and
you?
I
Do you
always
wanna
you
do
and
it?
I always do
Do
that.
you want to do it that way?
Yeah,
Fuck,
let's
Mary,
do
kill?
that.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
It's so funny.
Shit. Damn. I don't want to kill any of them.
Well, you have to.
You have to kill one of them.
You have to do it. All right. Probably it would fuck snowboarding. Probably would marry rock climbing right now. And then I would kill motorcycle, that kills me to say because I love ripping the bike.
Yeah.
It's like a stress reliever for me. Like if I'm in a bad headspace, if I go for like an hour-long ride, I'm totally fine.
Feel the
But
same way.
you can go for an hour-long climb and feel better, apparently.
No, I go for an hour-long climb. I'm like, why am I here?
That's
It's
what
like
I do.
that-
That's what I do when I split board in the
Yeah.
first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Why am I walking right now? I could be on a chairlift.
You like that type 2 fun.
Yeah, apparently. I do love destroying my soul. Just a little bit.
All right, favorite backcountry zone that you feel comfortable sharing?
Ooh.
You don't
That
have to-
would be
you don't
like
have to
the
go to
Baker area or in like there's just so much good stuff in Bozeman. Like the Beehive Basin's fantastic. Anything out of Cook City is really cool. The Beartooth Absaroka is like kind of hard to get into, but it's also like really gnarly up there and like rugged, and it's really cool to get into. I'd say like those are my two favorites. Two, I know you said one, but yeah, the whole Baker backcountry is like such easy access and such great reward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who is your snowboard goat, male or female, greatest of all time? Michael Jordan.
I would say Victor De La Rue right now. Yeah. It used to be Travis Rice, but I just think Victor's got a lot more life in him. Well, it sounds fucked up saying out loud.
No.
Travis is old. He got married and had kids. Fuck that guy.
He's
Just
over
kidding.
40.
Yeah.
And still-
I think they're both over 40.
Still winning the number selection. But it is his event.
Yeah.
And if you're going to give advice to anyone getting started in the backcountry, and again, maybe like female specific, but you know, what advice do you have for someone wanting to get into that space?
I would say definitely start by taking an avalanche class. And I'm like, take one from like a reputable, like, provider, like someone who's AAA certified to provide that course.
Mm-hmm.
It would be very wise to just take like a level 1, make sure you have your rescue, and then like at some point try to take that 2 because it's going to teach you how to make decisions, and I think that that's really important. And then the other thing is like find people that like you're comfortable communicating really clearly with, because even if you don't go an avalanche train, you're still depending, like your entire life depends on that person, and you're out in the winter and things happen fast in the cold.
Yep.
And it's like, you know, like can be life or death real fast.
Yeah. So some of this, it's a conversation that happens before you even get out there.
Yeah, I would say like I've learned this the hard way because I've taken a lot of people out, a lot of people who have a lot less experience than I do, and a lot of people that like I don't drive well with. And I would say like my biggest thing now isn't necessarily even you having a level 1. Like if you're willing to learn and I can like take you and like teach you some stuff and you're willing to like show me that you're willing to learn and you have at least a rescue course under your belt, like I'm more interested in knowing that we communicate well and plan well together and we're both on the same page. And like if you want to bail out, you feel comfortable telling me that. And if I say I want to bail out, I don't feel like you're going to like guilt me about it after.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I've been on a few close call scenarios where like it was because people just didn't want to call it when they should have, you know, because it was ego or
Afraid to speak up.
afraid to speak up or and it's just like group dynamics are so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff and I were just had this conversation a couple days ago when we'd been into Baker. The last time we were there, it was hog heaven. Like I was so ready to rip.
Yeah.
And everyone in the group didn't want to go.
Yeah. And it's like a huge bummer when that happens. I've had it happen.
But I'm like, I would rather if one person's saying that, but it was the whole group. And I was like so bummed because the mountain had been closed. It had so much new snow.
They didn't want to go to the resort?
We were on the resort, but we wanted to hike out.
Hike out, yeah.
Yeah, and just even then, people were getting spooked. So
yeah, like just give it a day, you know.
And I was, froth puffy, but you have to listen to the group because they're normally like if one person's kind of having that feeling, then there might be something. But when you have, a group of like 6 dudes who, have lived there, who are kind of starting to question it, then.
Yeah,
you gotta listen,
huge.
and I'm not gonna say anything because I've been the reverse role. I've been the other one that's been like, I'm spooked.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's just a feeling. It's nothing that has to do with reading. So,
and like also, this is just something that I don't know. This is just something that I think I've learned with time. Like the more experience you have, if you ever get that weird little feeling, like even if you don't see the signs, you're probably subconsciously seeing the signs, and you don't know it. Like your brain's like, we're going to send it. And then you're like, got this weird gut feeling. You're like, I don't know if we should. You should probably listen to that because that's probably like the wind is blowing a certain direction and you're not picking up on it, but subconsciously you're like, the wind blew that direction for sure.
Yeah.
And like, we shouldn't go over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like, it's the strength of our group because like, if one person says, then we all don't go.
Yeah.
There's no debate.
Yeah.
And it's not like, let's circle back on it in a couple hours. When the plug's pulled, it's done.
Yeah.
And that's what you've been able to do. So
yeah,
that's great advice. Thank you for sharing there. And then, just wrapping up is, what's next for you and what thank yous or shout outs do you have?
I would say what's next? Probably I was going to go to Revelstoke this weekend, but that got canceled. I don't really know. It's kind of like an enigma for me right now. I really want to go to Baker, really want to go to the Bridgers, want to go to Jack. I just want to go to all the places, you know? Like,
Mhm.
that's kind of the nomadic thing you were talking about earlier. I just love traveling and, like, seeing other snowpacks and other, you know, places. But I don't know what's next. It's a great question. Kind of a big
That's cool.
mystery
Yeah.
to me.
We'll
Even.
just leave it out there.
Yeah.
And then shout outs. Like, do you have, thank yous or shout outs to anybody?
I'm not sponsored.
I know, but it's
know.
like friends or, the cat that you just took to, die on gate 2 of Norfolk States.
Eli. Yeah, thanks, Eli, for hanging out with me. I know I'm a pain. Yeah, I guess I would just say, like, anyone who's willing to hang out with me and tour with me and, like, deal with my belligerent nature, it's probably worth a shout out. And, like, I think Eli's definitely been a really close friend of mine all summer. And I've got a lot of other friends, like Sam and other people out there who, like, want to hang out, do stuff. And I'm always down to go. So if anyone wants to go do anything anytime, hit me up.
And when you say hit you up, can they...
You can shoot me a message on Instagram.
There
That's
you
the
go.
easiest way.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It is a private account, but it's private for a reason.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It
Thanks
was
for
great.
having me. That was cool.
Yes.
Surprised I'm somehow on here.
Well, that was
Just
awesome.
wanted some beer with the guys.
Beers with the boys.
Yeah.